Hi, good evening, everybody. How are you doing tonight on this fine Tuesday evening? I am broadcasting back in Pennsylvania. As you can see, I'm wearing my formal attire if you're on Zingo, which you should be, because you may never see this kind of stuff again. Zingo TV, channel 761. I am wearing my formal attire tonight in honor of a very special occasion, which I'll talk to you about in just a minute. Uh, 12-ounce Sports Network, where you're watching a lot of great shows. I love what I'm doing. Happy to be here on this Tuesday evening. And stay tuned. After my show, we've got Captain Lou with a lot of great guests, too. As for my show tonight, we've got three guests, as usual. 6:40, we've got Garnet Valley High School football coach Mike Rickey coming on. Once again, another dominating win by this Garnet Valley Jaguar team. A few little things I'm going to talk to Mike about how the team played, a few mistakes they made, and find out what his reaction was. And then so we'll talk about the Radnor shutout Friday and the upcoming game with Springfield this Friday evening. 7:05, we bring in Mark Hoyle. Mark is an avid baseball card collector, mostly vintage, I believe. Also a Red Sox fan, so it's going to be fun to get his take on what his team has done all year. The Red Sox, as you know, weren't supposed to do much, but look where they are now. So just pounding the heck out of the Astros. So we're going to get Mark's take. And Mark also took a trip recently to Cooperstown, and we're going to talk to Mark about that trip and how special it really was. And we finished up the show 7:30. My guest Phil Stifel. Phil, if I pronounced your name wrong, sorry about that. We'll get it when you come on at 7:30. Phil is an avid Eagles fan. He's got his own podcast, which we'll talk about, and we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and another Philadelphia athlete that has been causing some issues over the past summer. And another one reared its ugly head, I believe it was yesterday. That is the man I'm talking about is Ben Simmons. So Ben was thrown out of practice yesterday by the coach, Doc Rivers. A lot of folks posting the practice that Ben was involved with, not really caring. Somebody mentioned he had his telephone in his pocket. I don't think he's going to be long for this team, but he should have been gone, in the summer. Sixers couldn't do anything to move him, I guess, and he's still there. So we're going to talk to Phil, mostly Eagles, but we're going to throw in a little bit of basketball, NBA there, which starts tonight. So what that means is every major sport is still going on, meaning, obviously, Major League Baseball playoffs, American League Championship Series, and the National League Championship Series. Basketball starting tonight. Hockey started last week, and obviously, NFL season is into its sixth week. So, a lot of good stuff going on in all the major sports. I'll give you my prediction in a minute about who I think is going to end up going to the World Series. I've said that before, and I'll just say it again. However, before I go on, the reason I am wearing my formal attire is because on Saturday, I am the father of the bride. My daughter is getting married. So shout out to my daughter, Kelsey, her fiance, Sean, who will no longer be fiancés, but they will be husband and wife. So we're very excited. Lots of family members getting together, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. I'm not going to tell you where it is. We really don't need any wedding crashers. So that ain't happening. But it is taking place. I'll give you a hint. It's taking place in Pennsylvania. If you can find it, good for you. So American League Championship Series. Man, like I said, these Red Sox, oh man, they're killing them. So my prediction However, for the World Series, and oh my goodness, I'm just looking at the scores now. The Dodgers had a 2-0 lead. Atlanta has tied it in the top of the fourth, and they have the bases loaded on 1 out. So if Atlanta wins this game, my prediction may be just a bit wrong because I predicted the Dodgers and the Astros to go to the World Series. So Boston has been hammering the Astros. We get 2 games tonight. The one is going on now. Like I said, I need the Dodgers to win, not because of my prediction, because I can't stand the Braves. Division rival, and I just don't want them to win. As Sidney Crosby once said about the Philadelphia Flyers, why don't you like I just don't like them. Why don't you like the Flyers? I just don't like them. So that's me. I just don't like them. Again, probably because they are a division rival, and they have shown that they are a better team year after year for the most part, and knowing how to develop players, which obviously I've talked a lot about. Phillies do not know how to develop players. There is some hope on the horizon with a new scouting director and a new hitting coach, Kevin Long, and they just hired from the Nationals, buddies with Bryce Harper. And the hope is that he's working with Alec Boehm now. My initial issue isn't with his hitting. That I think can be fixed. It's his fielding. I don't think Kevin Long can help him with that. So enough on baseball and the Phillies right now. We're just going to focus on the National League Championship Series and American League Championship Series, which we're lucky enough we have 2 games today to watch. So that's baseball. Basketball, like I said, is starting tonight. Big drama with Ben Simmons and the Sixers. Lots of thoughts on that about how much the Sixers organization coddled this kid. This kid, they show him in videos in California this summer shooting from the outside, and he never does that during a game. Hasn't done that for the period he's been with the Sixers. So who knows what's going on in that head? Well, we kind of know. He's scared of shooting, obviously, under pressure situations, and that's a problem. And Joel Embiid basically called him out today. So I can't imagine this guy. The Sixers have to be looking to get rid of him. They got to get rid of him. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to play. I mean, there's only so much you can take, and they have to do something. And sooner than later, because the season is starting in a matter of a day or two with this team. And I don't think you can trust Ben Simmons to play. His attitude sucks, and it's not what you want for team cohesion. And Joel Embiid said the same thing. It's not good for team cohesion. It doesn't work. How can you have a player like that? So that's enough of my spiel on the Sixers and how they coddle players and how some teams do coddle players. But somebody who doesn't coddle players, well, he does. He has to. He's a high school coach. He's got just like coddle, but he works with them. Head coach of the Garner Valley Jags. Welcome, Coach Ricky.
Thank you, Mitch. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good to see your face.
Oh, thank you. Got it worked out this week.
Nice. So, again, another, for me, boring win. Mike, stop doing this. I mean, I know you don't want to, I know you like the coach, and you're on the field with these kids, and they're learning a lot. I said to Becky, I said to my brother-in-law, we were watching the game at his place in North Carolina.
Right.
And I said, 35, whatever. Was it 35-0.5? I said, yeah, at this point we would have left. No offense, no offense. But we know what the outcome's going to be. And we're older and we're tired and we got to go to sleep. Yeah. But a good game, another great performance. But I did notice a couple things I want to ask you about. First, okay. There were some mistakes on the offense mostly that we could see. Fumble, penalties. What was your, when you see that early, it's early and that's okay, but what's going through Mike's mind when you see this stuff happening early?
I don't remember that happening early.
Maybe
Um,
I remember I thought we were watching because we turned it on in the first quarter, I think, and I thought there was an unsportsmanlike at some point. Maybe that was later in the game.
no, that was in the first half. We had
Yeah.
okay, so I mean, we got up really big, really early, so we were moving different guys in there. We had our first defense in there, and they had a little bit of a drive going. They fumbled. It was right that was right at the beginning of the second half.
Okay.
So what happened was we had our younger guys in there. We fumbled, so we put the first defense in there, even though it was a running clock. Just that was the only scenario where we would have those guys back in there, and they ran a couple plays, and then we had a late hit out of bounds, followed up with a
Okay.
unsportsmanlike, which we don't normally get those.
Right.
Um, and we actually took care of that at practice today to reinforce why we don't get those. But it was an unusual um, response from one of our senior leaders who doesn't. I've never seen him do anything like that before. We took him out of the game immediately after that happened. That is that was the one down moment during that whole game was that for sure. Um, I think there was a little frustration. It was the same guy for both penalties. He got called for the late hit out of bounds, and he
Hmm.
reacted um, in a negative way. The guys on the field claimed that he was talking to them. He wasn't talking to the official or to the other team, which I think is what the officials thought. But regardless, we need to learn to react better in situations like that. And I love the way he handled it. He came off the field, took full responsibility for it. It will never happen again. He addressed his teammates about it, and I'm confident that it won't happen again.
So I like the way, again, we've talked about this a lot, how you have taught the kids, the oneness. And when one makes a mistake, it pretty much affects the entire team. And is that something, again, with that apology that goes along with what the whole philosophy is? Is
Right.
that right?
So for instance, in practice today, we had during the course of that game, we had a couple kids who weren't out in the field when they were supposed to be for special teams. We had 2 penalties. We had some kids who were ineligible last week because they weren't turning assignments in. We had the JV team before the game that we had to remove from our walkthrough. So with practice today, that our whole talk was about oneness and what that means. And when one guy doesn't do his role, it impacts the entire team. I always use the example: if one guy jumps offside, they don't just move him back; they move everybody back. And we have expectations, behavioral expectations, and effort expectations. And when those aren't met, focus expectations, um, we need to address that. So we did address that at practice today. And again, the kids take that. This is where the senior leadership comes in, because the senior leaders, as we're doing our push-ups and planks and 6 inches and reminding them of why we're doing these things and why we can't do those things, the seniors then turn it into a positive. We're going to be better for this. Stick together. Let's work together. Everybody's doing it together. We need to be accountable. We can't be the victim. All the things that we have, that's when you have great senior leadership, and that's exactly what happened during practice today.
Before I get to the game and then the upcoming game with Springfield, um, so I hate to bring it up because I know you won't want me to, but I am anyway. The playoffs are going to be coming up.
Right.
Does this? At what point, Mike? Do you have to look game to game, and that's what all athletes, well-trained athletes do. But in terms of, again, ongoing execution, you preach that week to week. Does it make a difference? And I have to ask this: does it make a difference that the teams that you're playing? I don't know about Springfield. We'll talk about that, but homecoming game, Lower Merion is not. I don't know that's going to be that competitive heading into the playoffs. The kids know it. Is there any chance for a letdown with that last game in homecoming? I mean, I'm guessing no because of the crowd and the finishing undefeated, that kind of thing. But I had to ask that.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier in your comment. We do take it game by game, and all of our focus right now is on Springfield, but it's really not even on Springfield. it's on us. Everything that happens on Friday night is a direct result of what happens Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during practice. So when I talk to the captains every Sunday night, I have a coaches meeting. I meet with the coaches, and then after that, I do a Zoom or a FaceTime call with the captains. And one of the things that I always say to them is, we're going to focus on Garnet Valley. We're going to focus on controlling what we can control. Focus on getting better execution on offense, defense, better fundamentals. We have to bring the intensity to practice every day. If we come to practice and practice with intensity and practice with enthusiasm, then on Friday night, that's just like icing on the cake. That's when we take the victory lap and have fun. And our guys are really doing a great job of having fun. Excuse me, but they can have fun because of the way we approach practice. So it doesn't really matter who we play. It doesn't matter. A lot of teams get caught up in that. They look at the record of the team that we're playing, but our guys are great. We don't do that. We don't ever even talk about what the other team's record is. We talk about what the other team has, what they can do, what they're capable of doing. But if we do our job, then none of those things matter. And so if the emphasis is always on doing your job, I think it eliminates those letdowns. And we've been really fortunate we haven't had any of those.
All right, so let's go on to the game we just played. I saw that somebody posted on Facebook, Sean Gallagher nominated for Player of the Week, which is great. Is that right?
There's so many different things out there. I think I saw that too.
Yeah.
I don't know who nominated him, and he should have been.
Yeah.
In the first half of the game against Haverford, we had about 500 yards of offense in one half, which is that has to be. I'm sure it's a Garnet Valley record. That's unheard of to have that many yards in a half of football. But if you look at what happened, I mean, you couldn't have scripted a better start for Shane Reynolds, right? The first touch he gets from scrimmage, he has an 82-yard touchdown untouched, which was led by a great block by Joey Halloran in our offensive line. And, I mean, there's a picture of the offensive lineman on that play where they have completely walled off the edge and Shane with the ball. It's an awesome picture. And, from there, Max is 6 for 7 for 260 yards or something like that. 4 touchdowns to Sean Gallagher for 197 yards or something ridiculous. Everything that we did in that first half really worked. And it's to have that kind of output offensively was just incredible. Sam DeTrolio led the offensive line. It just everything that we game planned for, everything that we did during the course of a week of practice, everything that the scout team showed us during practice and modeling Haverford stuff. That's exactly what happened in the game on Saturday or Friday. And what you saw was a direct result of what happened in practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right. So you did a great job again and shut him out. So what do we got looking at? I mean, Springfield, every year, or there have been more years than not where it's been a tough game or an interesting setup. What are we looking at this Friday?
Springfield, first of all, has one of the best receivers in the league. I'm not sure what his name is, but he's got really good hands. He's a really good receiver. He catches the ball with people on him all the time. They have a quarterback who can throw the ball. They have not had a really solid running game during the course of the year, but they're a team who I think is their record is not indicative of who they are. It's like last week, Delaware lost to Stony Brook. Stony Brook was 1-5, but their losses had been to teams that were really good. And Springfield, they lost 33-28 to Ridley. It was a great game. They lost 17-14 to Strathaven. It was a great game. Those are two of the top teams in our league, two playoff teams. They could have gone either way. It just didn't go their way. Like you said, they've been a thorn in our side for several of the last years. They're a team that has not been consistent with what they do. One of the things that we've been really good with is being consistent with our approach on offense and on defense. They run a ton of formations. They run a ton of different plays out of those formations. And, that makes I think what they're hoping is they catch you in something because you haven't seen it before. But I always tell our guys, any team that's doing that, it's hard to execute all those different plays. And they have the athletes who can do it. They have the quarterback and the receivers who can make plays, and they can make something out of nothing sometimes. So we have to be really conscious and cognizant of where those receivers are, no matter what the formation is and who's eligible and who's not. And then one of the things that Coach Al Coach Allison has done with our defense through the years is he has empowered the safeties on the field, Ryan Saunders and C.J. Wood, to call the coverages no matter what we get. We don't call a coverage from the sideline. They see what the formation is, and they see what we're going to be able to be in best to cover that. And this week, those guys will do that again. It makes it a lot easier for us as coaches when we have those guys on the field who understand what we're trying to accomplish and can put us in the best look for us to defend. So, right now, defensively, that's what we have to do. And Springfield's defense is always good. They're always very physical. They've been very physical this year. They haven't given up a whole lot of points. They've been in every game because of that, because of their defense.
And you're going to continue to do what you guys do well. Listen, it's been fun. I wish I was there because you're mixing it up a whole hell of a lot more than you ever have with Max passing and the running game, and it's been really fun to watch. So I'm assuming you're going to continue to do that to keep Springfield on their toes, and use your skill players to do what they can, and the interior line on the offense to continue to block for those guys. So it's so much. Again, we all know it's all fun to watch, whether it's on YouTube or in person. And Springfield for the defense, like you said. So CJ and Ryan are calling those coverages and things on the backfield and that secondary. Is there that you said there's one guy to watch out for? Is there a point at which does that change? Is there like a double team coverage, or tell us a little bit about that specifically?
Well, it's not just they have one guy who's exceptional. They have 3 or 4 good receivers, so it's not like you can just base your whole game plan off of that one kid. They have some other kids who are also good, but that one kid is really good. So they distribute the ball to a lot of different guys. You have to be sound in your coverage, sound in your defense, and we will be. And then, of course, we have to move the ball more in offense. They're very good tacklers. They're big. Their defense and offensive line are big. One of the biggest lines that we play, probably the biggest line we played against since Downingtown West.
So you mentioned tackling just now. I was going to ask you, is that preached? Is that just something that's just continually drilled on in practice every week? You got to wrap up.
Yes. Yeah. We do a tackling circuit every week, and in the tackling circuit, it's all fundamental positioning, 1-man tackling, 2-man tackling, where we need to be, where your help comes from, how you need to set your shoulders, all that. Yep, we do it every week.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, the kids have been sound. It looks like they've been sound all year, which is great. And it's just going to be, again, another interesting game to watch. I will not be able to. Well, I might. Here's the thing. Here's the problem. So we got the welcome party for Kelsey on Friday at a distillery. By the way, have you noticed my formal wear in honor of Kelsey's wedding?
I'd see that, yeah.
Yeah, I figured I'd dress it up a little bit today. What the hell? My daughter's getting married. What the heck? I got to do something, right?
Right.
So I might be able to sneak my phone around, but there'll be so many people coming in. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great memory for us with all these folks there, and then obviously the wedding on Saturday. Segue into another time for memory with Mike.
Okay. Is the wedding this weekend or next weekend?
It's this weekend. It's this Saturday.
Well, tell her congratulations. That's awesome.
Well, Mike, by the way, feel free. I'll tell you where it is. You can come crash. Sarah's coming. You'll see them both. That'd be great. Look who's here, Coach Ricky. What?
That would be awesome. I've been taking notes and putting a little list together for different memories, and it's been fun for me to think back. One of the great memories I have as a dad with the program is in 2007. That was the year we played for the state championship. And my son Jonathan was born in 2000, so he was 7 years old, and he was a fixture at every game and as part of the game and really a part of our team culture. And as we know, we lost to Thomas Jefferson 28-3, and that was in December. Well, that following July, we went on vacation up to Maine with my wife's family. My father-in-law grew up in a coastal town in Italy called Taranto, and he wanted to go on. He lived, and then he settled in Michigan in 1959 or so, and he wanted to come to. He wanted to go on vacation on a coastal town that reminded him of Taranto. So he picked a town in Maine, and they came out from Michigan, and we came up from Pennsylvania, and we met. And he got this hotel room for us right on the beach in Maine. It was beautiful. So as we got there, we were unloading the luggage. Jonathan and I went to the elevator, and we were going upstairs to the room. And I had on a hat that said Garnet Valley Football. On the back, it said staff. And this guy in the elevator said, Garnet Valley Football, it's there. Are you one of the coaches at Garnet Valley? And Jonathan looked up at him. He said, oh, my dad's the head coach. And I said, well, how do you know Garnet Valley Football? He said, oh, I was at your state championship game. He said, I live in Central PA. I'm an avid high school football fan. I saw your game against Thomas Jefferson. He knew Tim Kaiser. He knew Eric Van Wyk, Drew Kravitz. He knew a whole lot about our team. And he was talking away, and he leaned down to Jonathan, and he said, why do you think Garnet Valley Football is so good? And he wanted Jonathan to say, because of my dad. Jonathan looked right at him, and he spouted off. He said, because we're selfless, we work hard, and we have character. the three pillars of our entire program, and it was, the guy could not stop laughing. But that, he said it just like he had been, a player on the team for that whole year. It was a great moment. It was really funny. And I talk about that when I go talk to businesses about how important it is to have your culture everywhere, so that everybody who's part of it knows exactly what it is and what it stands for. And that was a perfect example of that.
That's great. That's really funny. We talked about that year a bit, and that, I'm just picturing a 7-year-old like you just described. I'm sure the guy did one of these.
He pretty much did.
He did, right? Yeah, that's great. That's right. Well, yeah. Again, Mike, he hears it. I have daughters, and it's a little different obviously as a coach, but we are role models, not just for our own, but our own do model what we do, and it's all about the values that we profess. And if he happens to see those values as dad as a coach, that's just another way for him to see you make an impact on other kids. So it has to be impactful. He obviously learned it, and he's obviously grown up with it. And that's it's just a great thing. It's phenomenal. And then that just filters down and around to his friends and obviously the entire community.
Yes, that was really neat. That was really neat.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. All right, sir. Like I said, I probably have my phone on. I got to make sure it's charged.
Well, enjoy the wedding. Tell the girls I said hello.
I will.
And
all right, Mike. Thank you for coming on again. Good luck this Friday. Look forward to talking to you Tuesday next week, because homecoming is coming up, and I am, come heck or high water, I'm coming to the game. So.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Mike. Good luck. Take care. Stay well.
Yeah. You too. So long.
All right. Great conversation with Coach Ricky as usual. Just enjoy talking to him and his thoughts on what it takes to be not just necessarily a winner, but to be someone who values others and has the good values of being a nice, good, smart, role model human being. All right, so next up will be Mark Hoyle. We'll be talking Red Sox and Cards. He'll be up in a few minutes to give you an update on. So stick around for that, and also Regals fans, any Garnet Valley P folks listening or watching, stick around. I got Phil coming on at 7:30. We're talking Eagles mostly. Update on the score: Atlanta has taken a lead over the Dodgers at 4-2. So we hope that you know how I feel about that. I talked about that earlier. I needed the Dodgers to win, because listen, if they go down 3-0, it's happened. They can come back, but any sports fan knows that's a tough one to come back from. We'll hit Ben Simmons real quickly. I mentioned it before. Joel Embiid said he's not here to babysit, right? Embiid wants to win. If you got somebody on a team, and this is any sports team, but this is really, really bad because it's public and people have seen it. and they've seen Ben Simmons not make a dunk in last year's playoffs with the Atlanta Hawks, and then subsequently lose the game and then in the series, where people were thinking they were the lock. Who thought upstart Atlanta was going to come in and take it from him? But we thought the Sixers were the lock to get to the finals, and we have found out that there is some internal strife, and it just looks like Ben Simmons again does not want to play. Embiid says, and I quote here a article from Tim Bontemps from ESPN. Embiid says, "I'm trying to win, and to win, you have to have that relationship with your teammates. I do have that relationship with all my teammates." So he has a relationship with Simmons, but Simmons doesn't. He's not reciprocating. So unfortunately, it's not a good system. And then we go on to say we're really focused on winning and playing as a team. And then they announced late in Tuesday's practice that Simmons has been suspended 1 game for conduct detrimental to the team, a suspension he'll serve for the opening game Wednesday against the Pelicans. So there you go. Nobody wants him to play. He doesn't want to play. Get him out of Philadelphia, because you do have a good nucleus, and it was a really good nucleus with him, and now you got to find someone that can take his place. Excuse me while I take a little drink here. All right, coming up at 7:05, Mark Hoyle. Mark is a member of SABR. He's also, like I said, a Red Sox fan. Talking about the driver's seat. And he's a card collector. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, card collectors. Mark Hoyle's friends coming on. By the way, hopefully you're watching on Zingo TV. It's an app that you can get if you have a smart TV. Download it, and you'll need to put in a password and a username and a password, code 120Z, and then it'll get you in, and then you go to live TV and then click on that and follow and find channel 761, and then you'll see this formal face, formal attired man, and Mark will be up in just a few minutes. When he comes on, you'll be able to see Mark's got some cards to show us, and he took a trip to Cooperstown. All baseball fans know that is an awesome place to go to if you love baseball history. Baseball card shops are there. You'll never know who you're going to run to. It might be a player that's there visiting the Baseball Hall of Fame. So we're going to talk to Mark about his visit, and then mostly talk about the Red Sox and what are his thoughts, and get his thoughts on Houston, and why have his Red Sox been so successful? Why were they successful all year when they really didn't? Nobody picked them to win the Eastern Division, but no one, and obviously they didn't win the division, but they played well enough to get into the playoffs, and they are 2 wins away from the World Series. So really interesting stuff coming out of Boston. It would be nice if the Phillies would do the same thing, but that's not happening anytime soon. But we shall see. There's always next year. We're also going to talk to Mark a little bit about, again, I've had a lot of folks in the card collection hobby on, and we'll talk to Mark and get his thoughts about Fanatics taking over the contract for baseball cards, and I believe it's 2024. Get his thoughts on that. So it's interesting to get everybody's take, because really nobody knows what's going to happen, and it's just interesting to have that discussion with what cards have meant to us. And we've always seen Topps cards, and guess what? Topps cards ain't going to be after a few more years. So it's going to be really fun to watch how Fanatics does it, what their brand is going to be as opposed to clothes and merchandise, how they're getting at the cards. What's that going to look like? It's been amazing to watch the progression from basic cardboard to chrome, and we have somebody here who's going to talk about that, what it was like to get old baseball cards and what it's like to have new baseball cards, welcome Mark Hoyle. Mark, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm great. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So, Mark, I'm not sure where to start. It's all exciting stuff. Let's leave the Red Sox to the end.
All right.
All right. Because we can go on and on with that, but I want to hit you with a couple of things first. I always ask guys or women who come on who collect cards, when did you start? How did you get started?
I started 1970, so 51 years ago. My mother worked at the only store in town that sold baseball cards, and so I would go in there. They were a nickel a pack, 10 cents a pack. So you could buy a whole box for $2.50, and I probably had at it pretty good collecting sets all the way up into mid 80s, 90s. Then I got out of it for a little bit, but I had a couple boys and they collected. So I took them to the shows. So I never really stopped. I would pick up a couple things and throw it in a box. And then about 10 years ago, I broke that box out and I went on a few blogs, was reading them. I got onto Twitter. And nobody did sets anymore. Everybody was a player collector or a team collector. So I figured, why not just go for the Red Sox? You can't collect it all anymore. So I just worked backwards from what I had.
Okay.
And I still pick up new stuff, but I don't buy any packs. I just buy my team sets or a card here or there. I'm not chasing relics and autographs.
Okay.
I'd rather pick up a Joe Wood or a Tris Speaker card than get some shiny Devers card, even though he's good.
Yes.
I like the old guys. So
yeah. So more of a vintage.
Yep. I have.
Let's just talk about the card thing for a minute as we continue to go forward here.
Yep.
You said you might have some that you might want to show us.
Well, this is my office. If you saw what was behind me, you'd be like appalled because there's just piles of stuff that's not put away yet. But I have a few things on the desk. I mean, I don't know who's your favorite old-time Red Sox player?
Yeah, listen, for me, it's got to be Yaz.
So I don't know. This is a Yaz rookie, and it's a Venezuelan.
Yeah, I see. That's it. I've seen that. I've seen that. Have you posted that?
I did post that.
Yeah.
A couple other funky things that most people don't even know exist. This is a puzzle that Topps put out in 1974.
Were those pieces in the card packs?
They were in. No, they came in. They came in a pack that just had the pieces in it.
Oh, okay.
Here's another thing. This is like a wrapper for. It's called a pinup.
Okay.
And these are from 74 as well.
Mm-hmm.
You never see. I don't know. There's a little glare. You can't see it. These aren't really cards. You can't really. These Topps put these out in 68.
Okay.
They're called plaques.
Right.
And they came in a spree that had 3 of them on there. This is Lonborg and Yaz.
Okay.
But the cool thing is they put a checklist out.
Oh.
Which you never see. You never see.
I've never seen the last 2. Yeah, this one and the one before.
And it's a 2-sided one, and actually Mantle's on it. You get Yaz. These are things that you never see. I know Topps put these out a couple years ago. The punch outs, I saw them about 3 years ago, maybe in Heritage.
Okay.
But these are the originals. These are from 68.
Wow.
And this is, which one do I have? That's a Tony C.
Okay.
So he's one of my main guys.
Yeah.
Tony C, Yaz, of course, Ted Williams.
Yeah.
Jackie Jensen, Dom DiMaggio, any of those guys.
Yeah.
I never saw any of those guys play but Yaz and Tony C.
Right.
But it's just the history. And a lot of my collection is based around the 67 team, which I never saw play. I never saw them play either.
Okay.
They're held in, high regard and reverence. My father, my uncles, my grandfather, everybody talked about that team.
Yeah.
So what I do is anybody who played on that team, I'll collect a card from him no matter what team he's shown on. So I had to make a huge checklist. I find all kinds of oddballs. I mean, I have Elston Howard cards. He's a Yankee. He
Right.
played for the Sox for a year and a half. So I have a pile of his cards, even though he's on the Yankees. So
And Mark, that's the beauty of what we do as collectors, right?
Yeah.
You do what makes you feel good about that.
Yeah.
You and I are from the same mold. I was born a little earlier than you. I did get to see Yaz play. I never knew what a triple crown was, and then all of a sudden, this guy wins a freaking triple. What? Oh
I
my
know.
gosh! It was.
I
I
know.
mean, it was Mark. It was amazing. And as a baseball fan, and I tell people a lot, when I used to watch the Saturday game of the week with Kurt Gowdy and Tony Kubek, it didn't make a difference who was playing. You know why? Every team that came on had at least one, maybe two, sometimes three future Hall of Fame
Right.
players. And it was just fun to watch them play.
And you probably knew every player on every team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You just knew it. Yeah.
You knew.
I mean, speaking of Yaz's triple crown, I mean, that last 4 or 5 weeks of that season, he carried that team. If you look, I mean, he had the weight of that team on his back, and he hit the crap out of the ball. He had, he played out of his mind. So, I mean, the triple crown, everybody says it doesn't mean that much anymore, but
Oof.
I still think it does.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
It's, you have to have, listen, you have to have power. You have to have guys on base in front of you. You be able to get hits. And then you're getting those hits. You get the average. I mean, to me, it's one of the most amazing feats in any sport to win that.
I think it's pretty rare. So
it really is.
I think so. Yeah.
So you recently went to Cooperstown. I followed you, saw your pictures, was extremely jealous that you got to go with a bunch of guys, and you met some guys there. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, that trip.
About 2 years ago, exactly, the Hall of Fame opened up the Shoebox Treasures exhibit, where they have a whole. It's on the 3rd floor, and it's a whole card exhibit. It's pretty well done, really put together. 2 guys I met on Twitter, Jeff Katz and Mark Armour, were involved with that.
Okay.
So when that opened, the opening day weekend, they kind of put it out and said, whoever wants to show up, we can all just hang out and we can go to it. So probably 3 or 4 of us showed up and did it. And we had a great time. We had connected with Jason Schwartz, Heavy J. And so then we decided, well, this is pretty cool. Let's do this every year. Just kind of pick a weekend, put it out there on Twitter or social media. Whoever wants to show up, hang out, talk baseball. So, of course, COVID came and we couldn't do it.
Right.
So Jeff, who lives in Cooperstown, threw a date out, September 17th. Whoever can make it, come for a day, come for the weekend. About 15 guys showed up. A couple guys drove in from Chicago. A guy came in from Cincinnati. I had John Newman come down. He lives close by. I called him up and said, let's hang out for the day. And Ralph Carhart from New York City came up.
Yeah.
Todd Radom showed up. We had a good time. A couple guys brought their wives, and it's the first time 2 years ago, I brought my wife. She had a blast. There's a lot to do there. We hung out and did baseball things for 3 days. We had breakfast together, lunch and dinner, talked baseball, did the Hall of Fame. We went behind the scenes at the Hall of Fame. 3 of us did. Yeah. Tom Sheba, who's a friend of Jeff's and I've met, we kind of hooked up with him, and he brought a few of us back behind the scenes. So It was really cool. Yeah.
That's great.
And with the couple guys I was with, they were Cubs guys. So we had some Cubs stuff laid out that was pretty cool. So
nice.
You don't see every day. So,
yes.
And hopefully we'll do it again next year or the year after that.
Yeah. Listen, if I can do it, I would absolutely love to join you guys. I mean, that's just, as I said in the intro, baseball fans know about the Baseball Hall of Fame and the town itself. I mean, it's just this baseball haven, especially on Hall of Fame weekend.
I might have to go if Ortiz gets in. I might have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's got to get in. And it'll be so many Boston people there. You're going to try and train everybody in Cooperstown to talk about Boston.
I'll get a hotel in Albany and drive out for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get there. It's a 4-hour ride for me. I can get there, fairly quick. So
That's which is great. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. You got your thoughts on again, a topic that is relevant to the present day. Had some folks had Jason on, Heavy J on, talking about fanatics.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? What we don't know what's going to happen, what it's going to look like.
That's the thing. We don't know. It could be a really good thing, and you could be able to buy cards in every convenience store again, like you used to back in the 90s. We don't know that. I don't buy a lot of new stuff, but a lot of my friends do. So I feel for them, they want to buy packs of cards. So I think ultimately it might be a good thing. Once everybody gets used to the fact that it's not going to be a Topps card. But we got to give them a chance. We don't really have a choice. So
right.
It's fanatics or nothing. I don't think it's going to affect me too much, except that people kind of turn their back on the new stuff and go back and collect some vintage stuff. So
yeah,
it might hurt me on that end of it. But I mean, most of the cards I'm looking for now, pretty high end type stuff. So it doesn't really matter if other guys kind of jockey in there to do it. But
right.
I think they'll put out a decent product. They spent enough money.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't try to, put as much product out there as they can and do a good job at it. I guess we have to give them a chance. Like I said, we don't have a choice. So
right. Let them. What's fun. I mean, listen, as much as we all grew up with Topps, it will still, the anticipation is going to be really high as the years tick by and the year comes that they're putting down. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, they may have Topps involved somehow still. Nobody knows that. I mean,
true.
Still a couple years down the road, so we'll see.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, we can't do anything about it. It's happening. So let's see what they got. Let's see how they're going to brand themselves in the card industry. It's going to be interesting to me.
I mean, everybody's complained about the Topps product off and on for various things. Now this is real, we have a different company. Let's go for it. So
yeah, let's see what happens. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about your socks.
All right.
So nothing came up at the beginning of the year that the Boston Red Sox were going to get to the playoffs.
Nope.
Look at where the hell they are right now, 2 games away from the World freaking Series. What do you think, Mark? How did it happen?
At the beginning of the year, a buddy of mine put a bet that they were going to go 500. And it was pretty iffy at the time. I said, it's going to be close, And then they lose the first 3 games of the year against the Orioles. And then all of a sudden they're 8 games up. And it's like, where did this come from? I think they kind of came back to leveled off after the All-Star break. But picking up Schwarber was a big thing. It really helped their lineup, stretched it out that much more. And they're really they're on firing on all cylinders right now. They got a great pitching performance last night from Erod, which you never really know what you're going to get with him, and he had a good one last night.
Right.
And Pivetta is going. We got him. We stole him from the Phillies for Heath Embry, some workman.
That's your
team, right?
I can't.
We stole him. I don't know how he performed with the Phillies, but he's played pretty well for the Sox.
Mark, it's the story of the Phillies. They don't know how to develop players and help them improve. It's insane. But you're lucky you have him. We're all looking like, who is this Pivetta?
I know, and the way Cora manages in the postseason, all his starting pitches, like he says, he calls them up and says, "Get your cleats on," because anybody could come into the game at any time.
Right.
And the way he explained it, the way the guys are playing now, he says during the year, 162 games, everybody wants their 25 homers, their 80 to 100 RBIs. Mm-hmm. He goes, once the postseason kicks in, these guys have a different mindset where they're just going to do whatever it takes to win. So if you have to hit the ball to right field against the shift, that's what you do. And that's what they're doing. They'll take their walks, and they played average defense during the year, and they've actually played good defense in the playoffs. So,
Mhm.
and Fenway Park, I went to the wild card game. The
Okay.
place, since the playoffs have opened up, the place has been unbelievable. It is so loud.
Sure.
It felt like the whole building was shaking the night I was there. And the players have admitted it's a great home field advantage. It's the loudest I've heard that ballpark in since 2013.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
It's awesome. I mean, again, when your team isn't in it, typically I like to go for the underdog
Yep.
or for a team that I like, or root against the teams I don't want to win.
Right.
Obviously, for the Phillies, for me, the Dodgers can't lose this game. They just can't.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care who wins in the American League as long as Atlanta doesn't go and win the World Series if they get in.
Yeah.
But it really, and so what do you think about the Astros? You think they're cheating again or not?
No, I don't. I think they lost their starter, their number one guy, to an injury, and I think that hurt them bad. And then I don't think any of their three starting pitchers has made it out of the second inning in the first three games. So their pitching's in shambles right now. We'll see. I think Greinke's going tonight, and
Yeah,
I don't know what he has left. I mean, they weren't planning on using him, so we'll see what happens. So
yeah, I mean, listen, Boston wins, I'm fine. It's great. Let the Boston listen. They're such. I almost feel like with all of the old school teams, not that the fans of the newer teams like the Astros that they've been in since 65, right, or 62, whatever.
60. Yep.
Boston, Dodgers, the teams that have been around for eons.
Yeah.
The Yankees, the Cardinals, the Phillies, the Cubs, most knowledgeable, most passionate fan bases.
Yep.
We react to a pitch,
Exactly.
to an at bat, and to the winner of the loss, and that's what makes the game great.
Yeah. I don't know how the Philly media is, but the Red Sox could win 10 games in a row, and the last one they win by one run, and the media's all over them. That it's tough. It's really tough. I'm sure Philly's the same way.
Not as tough. I guess, Mark, it's a matter of recent history and how they've played. That has something to do with it. I mean, Phillies went on an 8-game winning streak. Oh my God, we're going to win. It didn't happen. We kind of knew there was a downfall.
Right.
It was coming. They came back down to earth. They stood in it till the last week or so. But we all felt that there was no way it was going to happen with this pitching staff. But I think it's real interesting how, like Dave Roberts was really criticized yesterday for the way he handled his pitching staff and what's going on with that pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dave's a pretty good manager, truthfully. Stuff happens, it's what can you do? I mean, Dusty Baker's a good manager. I mean, what happens on the field? You can't control it all.
Right.
And Roberts has managed that way all year, and it's been fine. What can you do?
Right. I mean, they're running into a team that's all of a sudden, the bats have gotten hot.
Right. Atlanta's they're a good team, good offense, good pitch.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I'm looking at the lineup. I mean, these guys have performed well. It's a solid, with Schwarber with 32 home runs. Kike, I mean, this talk about Enrique.
He's had 16 hits in the last 5 games.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Devers all year, right?
Yep.
Bogarts all year. Verdugo
solid
all year.
Yeah.
I mean, and JD Martinez coming back to almost where he was several years ago, hitting the ball like crazy. 99 RBIs.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfroe, 99 RBIs, 6 RBIs. I mean, just a phenomenal display of hitting, all really pretty consistent to me all season.
Right. Right. I mean, I immediately last night the Astros pitcher, his pitch count was up to like 55 in the second inning. They're just relentless. They give good at bats, foul off. You know, a big play last night that a lot of people probably don't even talk about or think about. Verdugo started that rally in the second inning. He hit a pop-up at one point that fell about 2 feet in front of the Astros bench. But because they were in the shift, Bregman couldn't catch it. That would have been the second out. What kind of inning would that have been then? Just a little thing like that.
Yep.
And then they score 6 runs.
Yes.
Boom.
Wait a minute. How many grand slams?
They've hit 3 in 2 games. That was on a 3-0 pitch last night, too.
Oh, was it? I didn't get to see it.
It was
3-0
3-0.
pitch, they had him go. Wow.
And then after that, the guy didn't even want to put the ball over the plate.
No, I'm sure not. Why would you? I don't want him to score any more runs. Wow. So we'll see. Yeah, big game tonight. Huge game.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Again, I don't have any skin in the game. I forgot about Dusty. Yeah, I would love to see Dusty win, right? But I also would love to see a 7-gamer, and you know, we'll see what happens. We don't know.
I want it to be over in Boston tomorrow, but we'll see.
I know you would. But it's so fun when it goes to 7 for those who don't care.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, it's a fun atmosphere there too.
It is. Yeah. I've only been to one game at Fenway. We had a blast. I mean, I didn't get enough of it. I didn't get enough. I wasn't there long enough. I should have gone in earlier.
Yeah.
Had great seats.
It's fun. I don't know where you sat, but the way Fenway's set up, like you walk around the concourse, and to get to the field, you have to walk up the ramp slightly, and you can't see anything. And you get to the top, and it's just the monster, and it's green.
Yes.
And I was talking about it with all my other Red Sox buddies on Twitter yesterday, and everybody has the same feeling. Doesn't matter how many times you go there, you know it's going to happen, but you walk up and you're just blown away every single time.
Yeah, it's such a unique ballpark. I got lucky. I got a guy. I was working for an auction company at the ballpark in Philly several years ago. Guy walked up to me. He says, "What do you do?" I said, "How are you? What are you doing? Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from New York." I said, "Well, what have you been doing?" "Oh, we're doing a tour of all the ballparks." I said, "Have you been to Fenway?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I've been to Fenway a lot." I said, "Man, as a baseball fan and a historical one too, I love to get there." He looks at me, he goes, "You want tickets?" I'm like,
of course.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Goes, "You want tickets?" I said, "Well, yeah, I would love them," but goes to his wallet, gives me his card. He's worked as a big guy in Coca-Cola and out of New York.
Yeah.
He says, "Send me an email." We were going to Boston. Actually happened to be going to Boston vacation anyway that year.
Yep.
So I go to my wife. I said, "I got this guy." She goes, "Is he legit?" I said, "Here's his card." So we picked a day. I email him. I get an email back from him. "You didn't send me your address." Oh, shoot. He is gonna. That was a Thursday.
Yeah.
Monday, I get home from work. There's a FedEx package.
2 tickets to Fenway. Nice.
Mark, they were right behind the dugout.
That's where I sat for the
I saw your picture you posted.
Yeah. We were in the third row behind the dugout.
We were right behind. That was amazing. And I went up and I went where I could, as far as I could go, to take pictures of the monster and all sorts of views of Fenway. I mean, it was just awesome.
It's a funky park, but yeah, everybody's got to make it there once.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, sir.
All righty.
Thank you for taking the time. Absolutely fun conversation with you.
Thank you for having me on. I watch the show all the time. I've seen my buddies on here.
Great.
Doing their thing, so I'm glad you had me on. I had a blast. So
thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Good luck to your team tonight. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, Mitch.
All right, Mark. Take care. Thanks again.
Bye.
All right. Fun talking baseball. Absolutely fun with a longtime fan. But now we're switching gears and we're going to football. We're going to NFL. Beard knowledge himself. There he is. Mr. Phil. Phil, pronounce your last name for me.
Stifle.
I did have it right. Okay.
Yeah, Stifle.
Welcome, Phil.
Hey, dude, I've been watching your show all night. I saw your nice tie. So I pulled my Masters green jacket that doesn't fit, Only those that win the Masters get this jacket. I have
Nice.
it hanging up over here, so I pulled it out for you tonight.
That's very impressive. I thank you for going with the flow. You know
Yeah,
why I'm
seriously,
wearing
I
it.
didn't want you. I mean, I don't know if that's a clip-on that you're wearing or a tie. But I pulled my Masters jacket out, even though I got like a sweatshirt on and I'm in my pajamas right now. But
I don't want to see. This is not a freaking clip-on. I did it myself. My daughter's getting married on Saturday.
I know. Congratulations.
So
How's that feel? Are you ready for the tears to come?
Jeez.
We're supposed to talk Eagles, but I got you crying on the air.
No,
within 1 minute of being on the show.
I don't know that I'm going to cry.
Okay.
And people have said to me, I went to visit work, West Town, the other day, and when the guy says, "What do you mean you're not going to cry?" I said, I'm feeling excited. I don't know if I stay in this mode of happy and excited, I'm not going to bring. He says, just remember your daughter when she was like this, and now she's okay. Stop. Now I can't do that because then I will. We'll be crying like we do when the Eagles play like they've played the but going back to last week's game.
Yeah.
Phil,
I mean, I don't know if I cried. There's some words that I'm not allowed to say live on the air, that came out of my mouth. So tears weren't that, but the frustration was definitely mounting.
We talked a little while ago on your show, are they going to learn? Okay, so maybe not as many penalties. Okay, good job. But we all know. How come we all know it? We all knew it when Andy started screwing around when he's late in his career with the Eagles. His play calling sucked, and I think it was as a result of unfortunate accident with his son, and he just wasn't into it, and he kind of lost it. And then Peterson last year. I mean, we see it. How can he see it and be so stubborn as to say, Sirianni, I'm going to continue to keep the play calling as I've been?
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it nonstop on all my shows, on all social media platforms. Like, can you properly judge the youth on this team with Nick Sirianni as the head coach? His game plan is just, it can't be his game plan. That's the only thing that I can think of, because there's no way any potential NFL head coach, offensive coordinator would look at this roster and look at the talent or lack thereof of talent and be like, we need to run the ball 3 times a game and just let our quarterback, who's inexperienced, who's in his 10th game as a pro, so he's basically a rookie at this point, we got to let him drop back 45, 50 times a game. So, I always keep trying to judge Jalen Hurts and, whether he's the quarterback of the future or not, whether some of these young talented players, Jalen Reagor, I've been pretty harsh on him. I know that. But can we judge him? But on the flip side of the equation, can we even judge them based off of what Nick Sirianni's doing? Because is Nick Sirianni really the one pulling the trigger? Because we talked about it all offseason, and it's Howie Roseman's team. Howie Roseman is the one. He hired Nick Sirianni to be that yes man. We heard about it all last year that Doug Peterson did not have the say over his active roster on game day. So, I mean, it's a really tough situation as an Eagles fan.
Yep.
Because you don't know which way to look at and which thing to, to say, because it's all over the place right now.
It's so inconsistent. We've heard, like you just said, with Peterson, and when he left and he let out some stuff, that fact, and we've heard other reporters in our town of our city of Philadelphia say that, they want a yes man. The Dougie wasn't going to be the yes man, and why should he? Because he's the coach governing the team on the field. Mm-hmm. What the hell does Howie Roseman know about talent evaluation anyway? Where does he come from? I just don't get it. He's a yes man delivery, you said?
He's a businessman. He doesn't know football. Yeah. So we could tease my show, Trending for 4 Quarters, for tomorrow night here.
Okay.
And I know you like the poll because I know you quote tweeted it out, this week. I put who's the most to blame for the current Eagles situation.
Yes.
Their bad record, their team, no direction, all that stuff. And I put, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts. And I subtweeted it saying, if Jalen Hurts wins this, people got some issues because it's obviously not Jalen Hurts' fault for the current situation.
Right.
And Howie Roseman is obviously winning. I mean, there's 330 votes, and 42% of them say it's Howie Roseman's fault. But on the flip side of the equation, is it even Howie Roseman's fault? Because we say Nick Sirianni is Howie Roseman's yes man,
Right?
but isn't Howie Roseman Jeffrey Lurie's yes man?
Yes.
You know?
And
So really, I know Jeffrey Lurie isn't going to quit as owner of the team, but it's got to start at the top. You know, Jeffrey Lurie enables Howie Roseman to do what he does. And that's where the problem with this team currently lies, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, does Jeff Lurie really want to win, or does he want to make money? I mean, listen, that's basically what it comes down to. And from what we've all heard, right? What we've all heard is that, again, Jeffrey is never going to get rid of Howie. They're buddies.
They're
But
family.
Jeffrey, do you want to win a Super Bowl, or was that one enough? Just tell us. Just tell people, tell your fans, hey, guys, you know what? We got one. We're good. I just need to continue to make some more money, and
Look,
we'll be fine.
I know Jeffrey Lurie's
we'll
been
be
here in
competitive.
Philly. He's been in Philly since what, did he buy the team in late 93, early 94? You know, he's been here for 26, 28 years, but he's not a Philadelphia guy. And I've said it before. He did not want to buy the Eagles. He wanted to buy the Patriots.
Right.
He got outbid on the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not a Philadelphia guy. He cares about two things, trophies and making money. He's got his Oscar. He's got his Super Bowl trophy now.
Yeah.
Now all he cares about is making money. And, you know, Howie Roseman makes some money. Keeps the stands filled, keeps the team profitable, keeps them on primetime games.
Yeah.
You know, just keeps them just good enough, just long enough. I mean, I said it and I kind of regretted saying it, but then I'm kind of like, maybe I don't regret it. We kind of lucked into the Super Bowl in 2017. It was like a perfect storm.
It was.
Everything went right. Nobody thought Nick Foles would go on that run. You know, even going down to like the lower levels of the team. Chris Long had a great, 30% of snaps portion of his career there. Everything worked perfectly that year. I mean, we had LeGarrette Blount and all these knockoff running backs running the ball. You know, Corey Clement, has he even done anything in the league since that touchdown catch in the Super Bowl? No. So, we kind of lucked into that. So it wasn't a plan to win that Super Bowl, really. It was, let's just hope we get close. And, we're stuck in this situation for a long time because winning a Super Bowl did not buy Doug Peterson more time, but it bought Howie Roseman an eternity, it feels like.
A lifetime contract, a lifetime job with his, especially, listen.
I'm expecting one of these Ben Simmons bad moments in like the media for Jeffrey Lurie to like run it under the table that, Howie Roseman just got a contract extension and hope it gets swept under the rug because of all of Ben Simmons. That's what I almost expect at this point.
Oh, it's so bad. Okay, so there's nothing we can do there. And now we go back down to, let's bring it down to the field and the play calling. I mean,
absolutely.
It's just, listen, I'm pissed off because Derrick Henry killed it last night. And I ended up being 3 points short of my fantasy team win. Damn it, if Sanders had gotten 30 more freaking yards, I would have won the damn fantasy game. Anyway, that's my rant.
And you see, they gave him the ball, 8 times late in the game? And what did he do?
Late.
Yeah, it was too late at that point.
Yes.
They gave it. But the one thing they do, if you want to talk about last night, Derrick Henry, his first 4 rushes last night, how many yards did he have?
It wasn't.
It was 8 yards. I know. I wrote this down because this is part of my show for tomorrow night. In my book, he had 8 yards on 4 plays. But what did they do in Tennessee?
Continue to run him.
Keep handing him the rock. You've got a running back that's got that kind of skill set. You keep pounding the ball. But again, it goes back to the other end of the equation. We've all heard the talk. We've never heard it come out of their mouth directly, Howie Roseman or Jeffrey Lurie, but we've heard the stories. They want run. Doug Peterson got in trouble for running too much in a game that the Eagles won.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's look at the Colts. I mean, I know he's not having an amazing season, Carson Wentz out there in Indianapolis, but they're running the ball with Jonathan Taylor. And guess what? All of a sudden, you're starting to slowly. It's taken some time because he hasn't played much in the last year or so. You start to see Carson Wentz all of a sudden getting some confidence back in himself.
Yes.
Because he's running the ball, because he's got a strong running back there.
Yes.
The Eagles have Miles Sanders, a guy that could conceivably, potentially be a top 5 running back in the NFL. And they're not giving him the ball. I know he made some boneheaded plays 2 weeks ago, going out of bounds and stuff like that.
Okay, fine.
That's the mental aspect of it. And I had Buddy Walters. Buddy Walters is Buddy Ryan's nephew on my show last week.
Okay.
And I was talking about the role the agent plays in that situation. Look, I want the ball. I'm not getting the ball. I'm better than I am.
Mhm.
And he was talking about how it's up to him to keep, he's not Miles Sanders' agent, but if he was, keeping Miles Sanders' heads, on straight after a game like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And, you saw it last week. He finally got the ball. It didn't affect him, and he made some great plays.
Mhm.
So, it's really interesting, that whole theory there, but,
It is. It really is. And it's amazing that, again, as fans, we're looking at it. They're throwing these stupid ass wide receiver screens that don't work. Why can't you throw a regular screen freaking pass? Let the guys come in, give Miles Sanders some room. We know he's going to gain.
You bring up an interesting point. There's two ends of that, because there's two theories on that. So one, week one, the bubble screens worked in week one.
Yeah.
They kept going to it, and that's great. But then last week and the week before, the bubble screens weren't working. So stop. That's Nick Sirianni's problem. It took him till the fourth quarter last week to adjust his game plan to give him Miles Sanders the ball. Nick Sirianni isn't adjusting quick enough. On the flip side of the equation, you say just straight passes, and I've been pounding this topic for 2-3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Take the RPOs out of the equation because you've got a young quarterback in Jalen Hurts. An RPO puts a lot of pressure on a quarterback. It's more than just dropping back and reading the defense, okay, or calling out the blocking scheme to the lineman for a run play.
Right.
You've got to read your ends, whether they're crashing. You've got to read 3 different RPOs. Bring so much to the table. You've got a young quarterback. Take that out of his hand. Just call a straight run play. Just call a straight pass play. Yeah. That's all you need to do. Simplify it for him. Give him less opportunities to screw up by just calling a simple, slant route or out pattern or dig play. Whatever it may be, whatever play you want to call, just call it. An RPO that turns into a bubble screen, there's a lot of work in there. Just call the bubble screen. You don't even need to just have him drop under center, get the ball, and throw the bubble screen. Well, that would be more beneficial to Jalen Hurts than an RPO bubble screen, if that makes sense.
Right. There's been some interesting thoughts I've read about Jalen Hurts. They have him always in the shotgun. Why can't they mix it up, right? Let the defense look at something different. Is this offensive scheme, like you said, how do we evaluate the Quez Watkins and the Jalen Reagors and the Devonta Smith, though we know he's very good. How can they legitimately evaluate these guys if the offense continues the way they're going?
They can't evaluate them properly. That there's no way. You bring up the shotgun. We got on the goal line. It was 1st and goal from the goal line last week, and we did score on that drive. Play 1, shotgun, RPO on the goal line, and it was no. You've got a running quarterback. Either put him under center and pound forward, or put him under center and hand it off to Miles Sanders. Yep. They're your 2 plays. Or put him under center and run a play action. Problem is, play action and RPOs don't work if there's no threat of the run. That's the problem. You're running all these RPOs. There's literally the defense doesn't have to worry about Miles Sanders because they know 97% of the time he's not getting the ball.
I know.
So go under center or just on the goal line. You do not need to be in shotgun. And that was probably a small moment, but a moment that frustrated me more last week than any moment. Going in shotgun on 1st and goal on the 1 yard line, it's just bad play calling, in my opinion.
To me, it's not aggressive. It's just, show the other team that you have the meat up front and you're going to push their butts back and they're going to get Miles Sanders to the end zone. Don't screw around with your quarterback.
Tom Brady's not a running quarterback, obviously, right? He's one of the slowest probably quarterbacks in the NFL his whole career. But let me tell you something. On 1st and goal on the half-yard line, what did the Patriots do and what do Tampa Bay do now? They'll give him the ball and he'll just jump forward for that. You don't see Tom Brady in shotgun on 1st and goal, do you?
No.
I mean, he hasn't always had great running backs or wide receivers, but you never see that. Okay? So you don't have to outthink yourself. And Nick Sirianni's outthinking himself right now. Yeah. And the fact that he doesn't want to change, or the fact that he keeps saying we count RPOs as run plays, or all the other stuff he's saying in his press conferences, like, dude, stop. Just go back to basic football. Run play, pass play. under center, and that will help this young team
Well, and that's
develop.
yes. The other side of the ball. Okay, I know. We talked about that, and Gannon reading all sorts of things. He's definitely besides Sirianni, he's also overmatched.
Maybe more overmatched than Sirianni.
Yeah. I mean, we watch the game after game, and the middle is wide open consistently all the time. And don't they have the guys who can play one-on-one? I mean, five, and you talk about the slant passes. Jalen Hurts, let's run I was going to tell you, why don't we can't go back to dinking and dunking with Jalen? Wouldn't that be helping him? He gets 5 yards, gets 7 yards, dink and duck, throw in the run. Then you're going downfield, right? Talking about our defense is, again, it's got to be the offensive coaches for the teams playing against the Eagles. It's got to be, they have to be like licking their chops. Look at this, guys. They're backing up. We're going to take what they give us. And guess what? Our wide receivers, for the most part, are a hell of a lot more talented than their secondary. So we're going to go dink and dunk, run, and then boom, an out and go, and then boom, it's an easy touchdown.
Look, I got in a lot of trouble. I got a lot of
grief,
bad comments and feedback, because I said Eric Wilson was a bad signing at linebacker. Alex Singleton, he's not a good linebacker. He's a good guy.
He's okay.
He's a really good guy, but he's not a good linebacker. Rodney McLeod coming back from that injury, too much is being expected of him. Epps, these other guys, Anthony Harris and Eric Wilson, they were on the free agent market so long for 1 year min deals for a reason. Right. Okay. Dude, Darren Waller may be the second. Well, he's definitely the second best tight end in the league. He's trying to push for best tight end with Travis Kelce. He's got 53 targets in 6 games so far, on the Raiders. He has got to be licking his chops, getting ready for Philly and their defense this week. Because, all right, so funny story, and I know we only have 5 more minutes here, but 2 weeks ago, I ran a poll on my Twitter page. Who was the worst defensive coordinator? Jonathan Gannon. Did you see this one?
I did see it. What were the results?
Not Jim Schwartz. Juan Castillo. Okay?
Oh, my God.
He wasn't even a defensive coordinator. He was an offensive line coach that got put by Andy Reid mid-season back there.
Uh-huh.
And Jonathan Gannon won. There was like 500 votes on it. And Jonathan Gannon won. That is telling you all you need to know. Jonathan Gannon's overmatched. And he talked all offseason about, building his scheme around the players he has. And I was trying to buy into that. I really was. But then he said 2 weeks ago, well, we don't have a scheme because we don't have personnel. Well, you just kind of threw your whole defense under the bus by saying that. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to play even less for you. And honestly, if it wasn't for Javon Hargrave right now.
Right. Oh, my gosh.
We would be 0-6 at this point. And we may have the worst defense in the league if it wasn't for Javon Hargrave. Because honestly, like I said, you've got 2 cover corners in Darius Slay and Steven Nelson, and you're making them play zone. You've got, terrible linebacker play. You've got this great front 4 that can't get pressure. So, Jonathan Gannon, he's just so far over his head right now. I don't know what to. I'm a loss. I could talk all day about Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. Yes. I'm at a loss for words with Jonathan Gannon in this defense at this point.
All right. So what do you think? 2 more things. We have a little more than 5.
Whatever. I was just being, whatever with
that. Saying goodbye to Zach Ertz.
Breaks my heart. But on the flip side of the equation, it's a business, and I understand that. And I understand why they did it.
Yes.
In fact, I kind of said they should have done it last year. Before week 3, I know Green Bay had an offer on the table. It was talked about, I think it was like a 3rd-round pick for him, and they didn't want to make that move at the time.
Right.
I just hope it doesn't bite us in the butt because Dallas Goedert's got so much potential in the world. Love Dallas Goedert. I mean, I've got his jersey hanging up back there. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love his potential, okay? Problem is he can't stay healthy, and he's not available all the time. Whether it was COVID this year or injuries in the previous years, he's not on the field consistently. And I said before last season, would you consider trading Dallas Goedert over Zach Ertz? Because at least you know what you have in Zach Ertz.
Right.
And he's somebody you'd want to make an Eagle for life.
Yeah.
And sometimes the younger upside fetches you more value, and everyone's like, oh, you're an idiot. You keep Dallas Goedert, you get rid of Zach Ertz, whatever. I'm over those bad comments that people gave me. But on the flip side of the equation, if Dallas Goedert isn't what Zach Ertz was, whether it's this year or next year,
Mm-hmm.
we made a big mistake.
Yeah.
So, because, one of the best things for a young quarterback, and whether it's Jalen Hurts this year or we draft another quarterback next year, the greatest safety valve for a young quarterback developing is a quality tight end who he knows will always be in X place to dump off a pass at the right moment.
Yeah.
And, if Dallas Goedert can't be that Zach Ertz, then we got a problem. It breaks my heart because, he had such a huge career with the Eagles. He was so key to win our only Super Bowl. It breaks my heart, and breaks my heart seeing how gracious he is going out of town compared to how Ben Simmons is handling himself in that whole situation.
Oh,
I'm so focused on Ben Simmons today.
Well, I was
kind of like,
all right.
Taking me for a turn here.
We're gonna go a little longer because I do want to hit that with you.
Oh, whatever.
But real quickly, Eagles Raiders. What are you thinking? What's going to happen?
Well, I haven't fully broken it down X's and O's enough to have an exact score. Okay.
Yeah.
But the Raiders, they've got a mess of their own with the whole John Gruden situation. Yes. Okay. That whole thing there is throwing them for a loop. And tomorrow night, I've got a guest, Sage, Alvarez. He's, big guy on Twitter, but he's a Raiders. That's his specialty of the Raiders. And we're going to be really breaking down what's going on.
Okay.
In the Raiders locker room.
Okay.
And what the thought process there is tomorrow night. But look, it's going to come down to getting pressure on Derek Carr, because if you rattle Derek Carr, he can create some turnovers.
Okay.
And on the flip side of the equation, if you could stop Darren Waller, which I don't have the confidence that we could stop Darren Waller. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If I was forced under a gun to make a prediction right now,
right,
I'm going to say the Eagles lose the game. That was my preseason prediction.
Okay.
Before anything else came out, that they would finish 2-5. This would be their 5th loss this week.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders defense isn't as great as it used to be. Obviously, Khalil Mack's not there anymore. I think we could put up 24, 27 points against them.
Really?
But honestly, I can't see the Eagles defense stopping the Raiders.
Okay.
Henry Ruggs is averaging over 22 yards a catch. Dude, he's going to burn our secondary.
Whoa.
53 targets in 6 games to Darren Waller. If he gets 9 targets, 10 targets, he's going to catch 7 of them for 100+ yards.
Yeah.
Our linebackers are going to get torn apart by Darren Waller.
Ooh,
so, if the Eagles score 24, 27 points, problem is the Raiders are probably going to score 35. And that's where it is at this point.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's –
Do I have to change hats for this next conversation?
Such a joke. I'm
always ready. I got the Eagles. I got that. I got my Phillies hat somewhere. I got my high school hat, Devin Pratt. I got my college hat, Widener.
All right,
I got
stop
it
already. The good thing that came out was what Embiid has said. He doesn't want to take this. He's done with this.
Right.
Which is great. And we all talk about enabling Ben, and how can a NBA star not shoot from the outside? And they enabled him and let it go. And then we see the videos in the summer, always shooting, and then
every summer
he's got to go. And he gets suspended today. He gets thrown out of practice.
Man, I was really expecting and hoping for a Marshawn Lynch like Skittles, no comment. Press conference today. That's what I wanted to see Ben Simmons do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole Ben Simmons thing, it's like dominoes falling. It's like quicksand. It's like
quicksand.
Snowball effect. It's getting out of control. I do love Joel Embiid saying what he said today. Look, I don't care about what that guy does. He'll do whatever he wants, whatever. He basically came out today and said, this is my team. And this is not going to affect us whatsoever. And it's another step in the evolution of Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
And the DSM media, the team I'm a part of, that we do all our shows with, we got our own little group chat going. And I said it today. The Ben Simmons drama doesn't change. If Ben Simmons sits on the bench and doesn't play a snap or a minute for the Sixers and doesn't get traded either, I still think the Sixers are a 3 seat in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
Because Joel Embiid is finally fully in control of this team.
Yes.
They were catering to Ben Simmons in the past.
Yes.
Even though it was Joel's team, they were still trying to work it to make Ben Simmons happy and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know, to coddle him, what so to say.
Right.
You know, this is Joel's team, and every year he has gotten better. And last year he should have won MVP. He's pissed off.
I
He's
know.
going to use this Ben Simmons situation, especially if he's still part of the team, to motivate himself, to prove to the league, look, I didn't need Ben Simmons. The Sixers didn't need Ben Simmons, and I'm going to carry this team. As long as he stays healthy, I say if he plays even 65, 70 games, I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but for a 300-pound, 7'2" guy,
Hello.
you know, that's a lot of games.
Yeah.
You know, if he plays 65, 70 games, he will literally not only like easily win MVP, he will carry this team to the third seat, and then come playoff time, who knows what'll happen and
Right.
all. But
Right.
this is a huge moment for Joel Embiid. I want to take the focus off of Ben Simmons,
Yeah.
and turn it on to Joel Embiid. This
Right.
is what he's been waiting for, and my man Tobias Harris, who's my
Yes.
favorite Sixer right now. So
Yes. Mike Rickey, the Garden Valley coach, and we all know about who came on before. First, always
was watching
first guest. And any athlete, we all know, you can't worry about anybody else at this stage of the game. We know what we have. We know what we have to do. Ben, Ben wants to play. Great. If he doesn't play, the rest of you guys, and that's what Joel has said, we're playing. And it's up to the coach to say, Ben, you're out. You're done. You're gonna sit. And he continues to pout. Joel is not going to worry about it. He's going to worry about what happens on the floor, and
Look,
that's a great
losing
attitude.
Ben Simmons is a big deal. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Ben Simmons, in my opinion, is one of the two, if not the best defensive players in the NBA.
Yeah.
He has court vision like Magic Johnson and Oscar Robinson. All right,
Right.
the guy is a great player. I love, and I'm myself and Scotty from DSM Media, we're two of the last people that jumped off the Ben Simmons hype train.
Okay.
We tried to hang in there as long as we could, and we regret it because his mental and off the court way of handling things is the problem.
Yeah.
You know, there's no doubt his talent, wherever he goes eventually, because he will go somewhere else eventually.
Yep.
He will make them a better team.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got to focus on what we've got. And
Exactly.
the Sixers have Joel Embiid, one of the three best players in the NBA, in my opinion. Tobias Harris, who should be an all-star, who's
Yep.
going to take his game to the next level. They got a good young core around them. I'm super excited to see what they could do with Ben Simmons sitting at home and not being on any team at this
Exactly.
point. And then once we trade him for somebody else, whatever it may be,
We'll see what
we'll
happens.
see what happens and all. But you know, I'm interested to see that evolution of Joel Embiid right now.
Absolutely. All right, Phil, listen, I got to get going. I
Yes, sir.
so much appreciate you coming on, your insight, your discussion, your enthusiasm, and all your hats are great. Thank you for following
And I've got
me,
more.
following me with the formalization of the
Hey.
show. Thank you so
I know my
much.
boy Jason checked in. He wanted to know if I was wearing my Masters jacket. Yes, Jason, I was wearing my Masters jacket.
All right, I got to get going. Thank you, Phil. I'll see you hopefully next week at your place.
Talk to you later, buddy. Thanks
All
for
right,
having me
take care.
on.
Thanks. All right, folks, that's a great conversation about the Eagles. Want to thank Mike and Phil and Mark Hoyle for coming on. Really appreciate it. Coming up right after me in about 1 minute, Real Captain Lou on 12 on Sports Zingo TV channel 761. 8:30 is talking to Kyle Hall, New York Rangers and NHL, and Steve Finnemore talking NBA, talking MLB playoffs. Atlanta leads 5-2 in the bottom of the sixth. Captain Lou six-pack challenge and college football. It's been great talking to you. Almost time for a wedding. We'll talk to you more about that next week. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.